All right, what is going on, my friendly YouTube audience? Welcome back to Engineering Major Philosophy Minor. Hope you guys are having a good Sunday evening slash afternoon. Of course, EM/PM is the spot where you can get a working aerospace engineer's opinions on topics pertaining to engineering, philosophy, politics, and various other social issues. Now, in today's video, we actually have a little bit of engineering news, and some of it is going to be a little bit philosophically and politically related to why people are leaving California. But basically, in this video, I wanted to react to, and it's not going to be a fresh reaction because I've watched this before, but I just wanted to make a little reaction to this PragerU video where they feature Elon Musk on an interview. A lot of you guys might know that Elon Musk recently started doing significant operations for Tesla in Texas. And I think that he also is moving his place of primary residence to Texas. It remains up for question whether or not Elon Musk is actually going to close the Tesla factory that's in California and do operations completely out of Texas. I wouldn't. He doesn't really say so in this video, but I wouldn't put it past him to actually do that. At the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if he had a little bit of problems with the unions if he tried to do that, because he would be displacing a lot of workers. But anyway, let's go ahead and just watch this video really fast. And there's going to be a couple things that I just react to and talk to about what Elon Musk says, and then I will need to correct him just a tiny bit on something that he says.
I think it's incredibly important that government focus on incenting the outcome, not the path. Tesla and SpaceX obviously have massive operations in California. In fact, it's worth noting that Tesla is the last car company still manufacturing cars in California.
So Elon Musk says right there that Tesla is the last car company doing manufacturing in California. If I'm not mistaken, he actually is right about that. Now, the factory, the factory is actually in my hometown. Well, not necessarily my hometown, but in the same area of my hometown. It's in Fremont, and it used to be a factory called Numi. And this was actually where Toyota, which is obviously a Japanese company, did a significant amount of manufacturing. Now, Toyota moved out of there specifically also because operating costs were becoming too high in California. And they also had some issues with the unions. And I think that those two issues were the primary driving factor as to why they moved it out. Now, another big factor for that, I'm all about ragging on California and its fiscal policy and business policy, but another big reason why they moved out of California was probably because shipping and stuff became very expensive. The time that they moved out was around the time when prices of oil were very, very high. And so probably shipping things via air from Japan all the way to California was becoming less financially expedient. But anyway, so I'm pretty sure Elon Musk is right about that. And I had the opportunity to tour the Numi facility when it was a Toyota factory. And actually, I should make a point to go tour it, it being a Tesla factory now too, because I'm sure that'd be really cool. But it's a very incredible space. It's a giant building. Back when it was Toyota, there was obviously a ton of robots, a ton of crazy stuff happening. You're seeing brand new cars roll off the assembly line. It's really cool. But it was a lot of workers as well. And these were, well-paying jobs at the time. Manning the robots and, doing quality inspections and, moving material around and all that stuff. So it would be a bummer to see, the last, or at least another auto company just leave a giant abandoned building in Fremont, California, because for a very long time it was just a giant abandoned building.
SpaceX is the last aerospace company still doing significant manufacturing in California. So there used to be over a dozen car plants in California, and California used to be the center of aerospace manufacturing. My companies are the last two left.
So we just talked about the car thing, and then he says next that SpaceX is the last company doing significant aerospace manufacturing in California. Now, unfortunately, for all you guys who are super huge fans of Elon Musk, I am going to have to break it to you guys that he's actually wrong about that. There are a number of other companies that do relatively significant aerospace manufacturing in California. You can look at the El Segundo area of LA. This is right by LA International Airport. You've got Boeing and you've got Northrop Grumman out there. Northrop Grumman also does significant manufacturing out in the high desert. And then the company that I work for actually does all their manufacturing in California. And they're a relatively big aerospace company there. Now you've got other launch companies like ULA, stands for United Launch Alliance, but I'm not sure if they do significant manufacturing in California. They may just have business units. But to kind of back up what Elon Musk is saying, the company that I used to work for did move a significant amount of its manufacturing to Mexico. And then they also moved a significant amount of actual engineering jobs to Mexico and to India. And so that is, that's just an example of where, the company is going to try and find the least expensive way to do business. And, that's a perfectly sensible thing to want to do. I mean, if you ran your own business, surely you'd want to, pay the smallest price for it, especially if your margins aren't very large. Now, the company that I used to work for was a commercial aerospace manufacturing company. We made parts for companies like Boeing and Airbus, if you guys are familiar with those. And the one thing that I learned about finances in commercial aerospace, which I thought was really interesting, is all the money is actually made on the aftermarket. So basically, you make money replacing parts and having spares available for airlines if they run a food truck into a part of the airplane or something like that, or someone throws a bag at the side and it dents something. That's where all the money is made. You actually, the company actually ends up losing money on the first several, sometimes up to several hundred production units, simply because it's such a big task of overhead financing in order to finance new programs in aerospace. Now, in the defense industry, it's a little bit different because the government gets your tax money no matter what. Bottom line is there are still companies in California doing significant aerospace manufacturing. However, Elon Musk is correct that California did used to be an insanely large hub for aerospace manufacturing, especially after World War II. El Segundo, Seal Beach, LA area was a huge spot for manufacturing. And although there is some manufacturing that is still done in those areas with companies other than SpaceX, it is absolutely true that not only have companies moved their engineering staff to other places around the US or even around the world, but they have also closed down a number of very large factories. And I was a part of some of those final shutdowns, let's say, for the company that I used to work for. So let's continue.
I want to emphasize, so that's a very important point to make. For myself, yes, I have moved to Texas.
So, aside from businesses leaving, what I think is important for people to understand about this is that when businesses leave, it's actually not just about, a lot of people, and especially those, on the left-leaning side of things, tend to think, well, okay, I got, if billionaires or millionaires or whoever business people, leave, that's a good thing for me because I get all those corrupt, those horrible, billionaires that only care about profit and exploit everybody, I get them out. But I think that there's a little bit of short-sightedness in that perspective, and that what usually happens is then no one has a job. So I can tell you that when Numi moved out of the Bay Area in Northern California, it was a big problem. I think it was something like 40,000 people maybe were out of work, which is significant. So the thing to keep in mind about this is, when businesses leave, or when businesses can't operate, no one has a job. Now, what we're going to talk about in a second, I'm hoping to get another video out tonight where I want to talk about some climate policy stuff, from Joe Biden. But just to give people a little preview of that, it says in this article, Biden plans to create like 1 million jobs. Well, this is what happens is, the government starts trying to issue a bunch of jobs to people. And the thing about that is the government has no incentive to be more efficient or to innovate or anything, because the government always gets your tax money, no matter what. And they usually will spend your tax money on goods and services that they themselves don't use. So there's no incentive to improve, and what that means is you get a huge percentage of the workforce who is basically paying themselves in taxes by working from the government, but then on top of that, they're doing jobs that are basically non-value added to the ultimate goal that they're trying to accomplish, because again, there's no incentive to take out that wasted work. So anyway, guys, just wanted to make this video to kind of react a little bit to Elon Musk and maybe give a little bit of a correction. But overall, Elon Musk's message is very important. That California really needs to amend the ways that it is dealing with policy, dealing with regulations, dealing with businesses. Their policies have caused major businesses to close down facilities in California in favor of greener pastures, either in other states or around the world. This not only creates a huge burden on people because of job loss, but also the middle class tends to want to move out too, because the cost of living will continue to go up with things like increasing minimum wage, increasing taxes, increased regulation on homeowners, things like that. I hope you guys, this gave you guys some ideas to think about, whether or not you're thinking about leaving California, or you're a business owner and you're thinking about California policy versus other states. Or if you're just, a random person on YouTube watching this video trying to learn about, what happens when the government gets excessively involved in things and just kind of messes around with stuff. This is what happens is people just leave if they can. In countries like Cuba, you can't leave. That also happened in the Soviet Union and Maoist China and all these places that we've all heard about. So anyway, guys, I'm hoping to get another video out tonight, so stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Later.